Welcome folks, today we're going to look at installing Octoprint on your Raspberry Pi so you can control your 3D printers remotely and view your prints as they happen. Let's have a look. First you're going to need to buy a few things, so you're going to need either a Raspberry Pi. This is the latest Raspberry Pi 0W, and that has onboard Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. This is an old Raspberry Pi 2B, and to get Wi-Fi you have to use a dongle, so this is just a cheap $10 dongle here. And you're going to need a camera, so you can use one of these cheap PlayStation cameras that you can get off of Amazon or eBay, and they're not bad. They're not high resolution, but they're plenty for monitoring a print. The official Raspberry Pi camera is a little bit more expensive, and there are three different ribbon cables. There's this one, that's for the Raspberry Pi Zero, it's the small one. There's the regular size, and I like to buy these extra long ones. They come in a few different sizes, but I like the extra length so that I can really position my camera where I need it to be without pulling the Raspberry Pi itself around and losing power. So talking of which, you need a power supply, and it needs to supply 2 amps. Lastly, you're going to need an SD card. The more capacity you've got, this is 8 gigabyte, the more capacity you've got, the more time-lapse captures you can record. So if you run out of space, it's usually because the time-lapse, because the operating system and Octoprint itself don't take up that much. But a long print is going to be a large file, and you're going to need a bit of space. So that's an 8 gigabyte. I do have one that's can't get that to, that's a 32, but they always come with an adapter. Well, usually come with an adapter, so you can plug it straight into your computer and install the files, and that's what we're going to start with now. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to octoprint.org, and as you can see there's Octopi here. It's the ready to go Raspberry Pi image with Octoprint, and Octopi includes the software, the host software, the website if you like. That includes webcam and slicing support. I don't use the slicing, but it's there. It includes MPEG Streamer so that you can have a live view and do time lapses, and it includes the old chore engine, not the new one. And as you can see, the new Octopi 0.3 is compatible with all the Raspberry Pis, including the Zero. You're going to want to download Octoprint, Octopi, and this is the image, and we're going to have to burn it to our SD card, then open this text file on the SD card to edit it for our network settings, our Wi-Fi settings. Boot from it, and then we can log in via SSH, change the password, and then we can view it. We can view the web stream, and we can view Octoprint in our browser. But you definitely need to get the latest version from octopi.octoprint.org. There are other images around. Let's get this one instead. So it's downloaded. We can extract this zip now. Open it up. So that gives us an image file. and I'm going to use the Raspberry Pi SD installer for OS X, so I need to get that into my folder. Before we can write the image to this SD card, we need to erase the current partitions that are on there, so I'm going to make this a fat partition. So we should have a 4 gig card here. There we have a 4 gig card. So now I should be able to use my command line and install this image. Carefully select the drive or the mounted volume that you want to erase and install the image on, because if you get this wrong it's pretty catastrophic. So for me, I named it Octoprint, so that's number 6. Then we wait for it to do its magic. So we can do Control T, it'll tell you the progress. It'll come back when that's done. So while that's happening, I'll show you where I got that software from, that installation software. So because I like the command line, you can get from this GitHub the installer that I just used. But if you're on Windows, or if you like to use a graphical interface, I've got a friendlier version of this that you can use, and it's going to make your life a little bit easier. It's a bit safer as well. Software is called Etcher, etcher.io, and it's a completely graphical way of burning an SD card. So you just hit download, and when it's downloaded you install the software, and it's really easy to use. Now it's downloaded, let's take a look. So it's going to extract and install this DMG, or the Windows equivalent. Here's the Etcher app, so we open that up. And here's the app. So we select our image, and remember I've got my image here, so I can just drag it on, open that, connect the drive, so it's detected that I've got the drive installed now, then hit flash. Put my password in, because it's going to override a mounted drive. Is that 5%? Let's come back when it's finished. So it's 43% validating right now. says it's going to be done in about 45 seconds. 99% unmounting. Okay, it's done. Let's take it out and put it back in again. And we've got it. So we've got a configuration file to edit, so we need to open that with a text app. It needs to be a plain text app as well. You don't want to even convert quotes into curly quotes. That's a problem that is often caused. Here you can set various options about your camera, which camera you're using, if it's going to be a high resolution and the frame rate. I'm going to leave it just the defaults for now, and you can always come back to that later. Let's get it on the Wi-Fi. So you can see the lines remarked out with comments. So we need to remove these comments and put in your SSID and your password. Obviously I'm not going to do that while you're watching, so I'll do that now and then we can boot it up. I need to eject, take the disk out, and now I need to insert it into the Raspberry Pi. Now I need to add my camera, and right now the camera is set up for a Pi 0, so I need to replace this ribbon cable with my extra long ribbon cable. Let's get this so you can see. You just stick it in and clamp it down. Make sure it's in evenly and well clamped, because when these pop out it can stop the Octoprint booting or can crash it. So hopefully that's correct. We'll soon see. And now we have to power it up, so we need to use our USB power adapter. This is just to show that it's actually booting up. I've plugged it into a TV. You could actually plug in a keyboard and do the next step. Plugged in using a screen, but I'm going to use SSH to log in remotely, and I'll show you what to do there. Now that's booted up, we need to log in and change our password. So what we need to do is SSH Pi, which is our username, at the host name, which is octopi.local, and put in the existing password, which is raspberry. I probably spelled that wrong. Yep. to ours. And then we need to do password to change the current password. So it needs the current password, which is raspberry again. See if I get it right. And then the new password. So I'm going to pick one and then add it again. And now we know we're logged in. Now, if you've got a keyboard plugged in and octopi.local didn't work, what you can do is hostname minus capital I, and it'll tell you the IP address. And right now mine's 10.0.1.55, so you could just use the IP. Now it's booted up, we've changed the password, we should be able to get the web view of the actual web application. So let's try that. Just drag a window over here, and again, octopi.local, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there we go. So the first time you go in, you need to create a login. So I'm going to be Chris G, and create a password, repeat the password, and then I'm going to keep access control enabled. Let's see if that webcam's working. Yep, it's looking up at the ceiling, but it's working. Now, if you log in, you can see you can do a software update, and you can connect to your printer over USB, but we haven't configured one, so that's our next job. So I'm going to ignore the software update just now. We should really do it, but you can do it later. So we need to go into settings, we need to set a print profile. So we need to create a new profile. Right now it's a generic RepRap printer. We need to create a profile for our printer. So it's create CI10. Doesn't matter about all that. It's rectangular. The origin is lower left, and this has got a massive 300 by 400 volume, and yes, it's got a heated bed and nozzle diameter of 0.4, one extruder. Confirm. There we go. We can set it to the default and hit save. So now when we plug it in with USB, we should be rocking and rolling. So we're almost there. I've plugged it into the printer, and as you can see, I've adjusted the webcam so it's pointed at the printer, but we've got a bit of a problem here. It's upside down, so let's sort that out. In the settings, you've got a webcam option here. I'm going to flip it vertically and going to turn off the Octoprint watermark. I'm going to hit save. Okay, cool. So it's now looking at the horrible mess of my desk here, but can see the printer, kind of. And got serial port set to auto, baud rate set to auto. I'm going to set the baud rate to 115200 because I know that's what the printer is. I'm going to set it to USB 0. I'm going to hit connect. It says connecting, and as you can see, it's actually seeing the cat G code that's on the SD card. So I can actually upload to the SD card from here, or I can upload to the printer. So let's do a test print. Let's see what we've got to upload here. Well, let's upload in. We can set the hot end to PLA temperature, and we can set the bed to PLA temperature. As you can see there's a temperature graph here. You can also set this in the screens here, so you can set the temperatures you want them to be. Presets. And you can set time lapse on or off, or on Z change. So I'm going to set mine to Z change. You don't have to wait for it to get up to temperature. I'm just going to set it to print. So mini human skull, you can load it using this button here, or you can just send it to print, load and print. That's what I'm going to do. Again, it's going to set the temperature anyway, the target temperature, the bed and hot end. And as you can see, it doesn't know how long is left. It's going to estimate that, but it's not particularly accurate. You can see how far through the file it is, and that's a good proxy for how long is going to be left on the print. So we're waiting for our bed to get up to 60 degrees here, and then it'll start going. That's it, that's Octoprint installed, and as you can see it's printing, and we can monitor it remotely, and out the end look at a time lapse. So thank you for watching, and please like it if you like it. If you don't like it, please leave a comment, tell us why and how we can improve, and do let us know if you've got any ideas for videos we should do in future, what we should cover, and what you'd like to know. Please do subscribe using the subscribe button, and any feedback you've got we'll gratefully take on board. Thank you, and see you next time.